Sorry. I just passed out of college very recently. But what a lovely morning we've had. What a lovely Sri Ganesh we've had earlier with Lord Krishna and then Dr. Ganesh. My name is Chetan Rawal. I'm a founder of Biogenics Labs. It's one of Pune's fastest growing diagnostic companies. Coming back to the topic today. Since we are in college and a lot of y'all raised hands about wanting to become entrepreneurs. I'm a part of an organization, even Ganesh is, called the TIE, the Indus Entrepreneurs, where we have a program for college students if they have a small startup going on or a startup idea. We help them validate it, grow it, and also we have a competition called TIE Nurture and TIE University as well, especially for students from universities having small startup ideas and want to validate it or grow it, right? So Smita, Akash are also a part of the TIE group, and if you guys have any entrepreneurial ideas, we'll be happy to help you out. We'll collab. Yes, Rajbhai ke sath we will again coordinate and make this across the multiple campuses that you have. Coming back to today's topic, we've all heard a lot about AI. We've all used Chat, GPT prompts, and the lovely ladies over here might have used AI versions of pictures on Instagram. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about a little more details with a much younger panel, where all these founders have been part of companies that use and leverage AI on a day-to-day basis. And I'll just briefly introduce them and then we'll get in details about that. So we have Jayesh, who's the founder of Axonator, an AI-backed app development company, and has used AI to leverage and back Fortune 500 companies like Mercedes and so on and so forth. We have Ranjit, who's has multiple caps on his head. He's an MD of Everstream, which is an AI-backed data company, and also a VC at YourNest, which has invested in multiple startups, some of which leverage AI again for their own business proposition. We have Amit. Amit is a veteran in the healthcare industry who's worked with multinationals and revolutionized GE by launching India-specific products. His last stint was at, like Uday mentioned, at Deep Tech, which is one of India's biggest radiology company that uses AI to detect TB with their algorithms. And we'll talk about a little more in that in a little detail. And then we have Arpan over here, is a part or a group CTO of Innoplexis. He's passed out from IIT and has had a tremendous experience of over 10 years in helping clinical or vaccine development companies with clinical data to develop molecules and vaccines using AI. With that, we'll start and we'll delve a little more into detail about we'll hand it over to Jayesh about how was your experience, how did you start and stumble upon AI, and then how have you used AI to generate the massive leads or massive clients that you have at Axonator?
Sure, thank you. First of all, a disclaimer. I have ADHD and I shake a little bit when I am in front of a lot of public. So still I am here, which is a good thing for me because last 20 years I have been suffering from this. And it has led me to, as I look back, I see that it's the fear of people that has led me to become an entrepreneur. So I am founder and CEO of Axonator. I studied from college in Pune, MIT here, I graduated in 2003. And I started my own company right after the college. I thought it was something that I have done great and people praise me for it, but it's deep down I have a fear which stops me from having a boss or having to deal with people, which has also led me to keep my business as away from humans as possible, and AI is like boon for me. So about this panel here, the name is Demystifying AI, something like that, right? So demystifying. Whatever we are talking here, we are talking about AI, and AI is it's written here in the small letters here, but the very fact that we have written AI here means the hype is there, and we are trying to say there it's just an hype. But we have given examples saying that everything can be done by AI, humans will be extinct, and sapiens and Homo sapiens, whatever. Right? So I think we are taking life too seriously. I have done that mistake in the last 20 years. Only now I have become free enough to talk here, and so I will share a little bit about how I went through this whole journey and ended up with AI-powered platform which Axonator is. In fact, we have some people, so I have a small team of 45 people, and we are working on a no-code platform which allows anyone to create mobile apps without coding using AI within 7 days. Some of the IGI people, not AGI, IGI people are there in my company, by the way. So when I started my company in 2003, it was an IT services company, even though I wanted to create a product company. But product requires a lot of money, investment and everything, which I didn't have at that time. So I started IT services company in 2003, and even my dream was always to create a product company. So when I went to US for the first time, I saw that people are still using paper forms and spreadsheets. It was like, wow, I can build a platform which allows these people to create mobile apps without coding within seven days. Now with AI, my dream has changed. I say I want to create a mobile app. I will allow you to create a mobile app within 7 minutes now, and which is quite possible with AI. The reason I'm here, they have invited me because I have taken a session on how to use AI for marketing. And we have successfully used AI. I have customers like Daimler, Mercedes-Benz, Bridgestone, Johns Hopkins University, Tata Chemicals. All these companies all my clients are inbound. I have not met any of them. Bridgestone, nobody knows me, which I say very proudly, because I have created a machine which can build business on its own. And 2022, I think AI came, Open AI came in, ChatGPT was released in November 2022. So that was the day when I was like almost dancing on the floor, because I saw ChatGPT not as a chatting tool, but something that can give me a global audience across the globe. And that's how I started automating everything in AI for marketing. And I got all these customers using AI. So AI is there, but I would like to end my talk by saying that AI is not something that we should fear, because there is something called consciousness. We all know Sadhguru, and I know he talks about consciousness and all. Very few people understand what consciousness is and what is an illusion, Maya, and all these things. So,
right, so what Jayesh mentioned was, I was a part of the session that he spoke about, and he demonstrated how they at Axonator used specific tools to generate marketing videos, to generate marketing, to play with the data that they had in the marketing team, to target clients and land them without actually interacting with them. It was pretty awesome, and I'm sure if you all are interested, we can have Jayesh around, or even have a one-to-one session on what kind of tools were those that actually gave them or landed them the biggest clients actually in the
right, so AI is just a tool, like you said.
Correct.
So human intelligence is never going to be replaced by AI. So that is how I would like to conclude.
Right. We have Ranjit here, who has massive experience in AI in his capacity also, and in the startups that he's invested. Over to you, Ranjit, for your experience.
Hi, Ranjit Shete here. So I'm the managing director for Everstream, the India operations. I'm also a partner at a venture capital firm called Yonest. We do a lot of deep tech investments. My journey with AI started 30 years back. So I'm from Bombay. I studied at Vivekananda, did computer engineering. And so, by the way, I'm on the wrong side of 50. So I'm not a part of the younger panel. Right? So, but But anyway, so my journey started a long time back. Went to Vivekanand. Actually, I did my final year project at IIT Bombay in AI and natural language processing under Dr. Pushpak Bhattacharya. Went to abroad to study my master's in computer science at a place called ISI, which is where the internet was invented. And if you've done AI, you know Kevin, Rich and Knight. There's a book called Rich and Knight. And so Kevin Knight and Yolanda Knight, his wife, they both work at ISI, right? And just to give you a sense of it, ISI invented the internet that as we speak, right? So I worked with the inventors of DNS, TCP, IP, UDP, all of that. But I also worked with Yolanda and Kevin, learned from them. And what they did was, in 1995, they had a photocopy machine that would take a Japanese contract and spit out an English transliteration of it. Okay, so that's how far ahead they were. Of course, techniques were different. I'll keep referring to my phone because I want to make it quick and get through my points. Right? So anyway, so very briefly, I've been investing in startups. As a VC, we invested in Uniphore, which is a $3 billion AI company now. We invested 12 years back. So my AI journey started 30 years back at least. Investments in AI started 12, 13 years back. Everstream today is the #1 data science company in the world for innovation in data science. That's the one I run the India office of. We're worth some $300 million. Last year I ended up selling 2 companies. They were $150 million and something else, right? So it's not always my company. I've not always been the founder, but that's my journey. Now, I'm also an AI practitioner, so I have patents in the past. I'm also very hands-on, so I can actually sit down and describe RAG, Graph RAG, and how do you integrate Perplexity or Perplexica, which is the open source version, on top of an LLM. Where are LAMs going, large action models, whereas large reasoning models going. So that's what, right? So that's really what I do. And in fact, I find myself in the same position as the people that I put money into. Because now, everybody's spoken so well, Jayesh has. So I have to now, what I ask in founders, differentiate yourself. And now I'm struggling to differentiate myself, right? Because he has already spoken on the important points. So my advice to you folks is, workflows will get automated, but I don't think ownership will get automated in the near term. Okay, so that's one thing. Second thing is, if you're, as students, if you're working, I would suggest an institute-wide infrastructure on agentic frameworks, because that's going to be there for the long term, like for 15, 20 years. Like Linux, if somebody invested in Linux 15 years back, they can still extract value out of it, right? So very practically, as practitioners for you guys. From a business perspective, I think I had the pleasure of meeting Dr. Komal Singh and from the business school, right? And I would suggest a venture studio framework if that can be done, leveraging the agentic framework. That would really leverage the skills that are present within your ecosystem and would present you in a very strong light as leaders, as technical experts, and even on your own entrepreneurial journey, you'd have a deep platform to depend on, right? It's not just the network that you carry from here. If you're looking only purely at tech, I would recommend, I'm investing in AI processors built on carbon nanotubes, silicon photonics, and optical computing. But we're also looking at data residency and privacy, right? The other parts we are not looking at, which is, there's a hardware, above the hardware is the cloud. We are not looking at the cloud, because the cloud has been commoditized, okay? Above the cloud is the data residency and the privacy, which has not been solved, although all the facets are there, people know about it. Above that are the apps. The apps are very thin, and we are not really investing in those, because they can get replaced very easily, right? My final advice to you is, what I would learn from my journey is, invest in yourself, right? And the other thing is be multidisciplinary. And the final advice would be, there's a difference between being rich and being wealthy, right? So for me, being rich is how would I spend my money? Being wealthy is how do I spend my time? I have the freedom to spend my time the way I want. I'm doing all of this stuff. I'm an angel investor, I'm a VC, but I'm here because this is what I enjoy. And that makes me wealthy. It may not make me rich, but it makes me wealthy. So even if you're looking at jobs being replaced by AI, figure out who you want to be and focus on that. So that's the advice I would give. Right?
Great, thanks. Thanks, Aranjit. So if you guys now have any AI startup idea, you know who to pitch it to and raise money from. We have Amit here, who's extensively worked on one of Pune's biggest or India's biggest radiology company that leverages an AI platform. A client who we are also a client and using that platform called Deep Tech. Amit, can you talk about a little more on how has your experience been within the company on developing or building while building that platform and how was your experience when you took that platform globally?
Sure, thanks, Chetan. So just to give a little more context, I'm primarily a healthcare guy. I've spent more than 2 decades, close to 25 years in healthcare. Chunk of it in GE and Philips, and then of course in Deep Tech as Chetan was mentioning. I come from a business background, so I've spent most of my career in business roles, but in technology companies. So I probably would like to bring that perspective. I would probably make 2 points today. I would like to kind of try my best that you take away 2 things from whatever I have to say today. One is, what is the landscape in AI look like, and I'll probably use some of the Deep Tech example as well as some others. But what is the landscape looks like from, I see a lot of students as well as entrepreneurs around and businessmen. So what's the landscape in AI, especially in healthcare, look like in a bit? And what is driving those, and what should you be looking at as you enter this field or as you grow in this field who are already in it? And the second point that I like to make is really about how having a market-backed approach than an AI-forward approach is essential, and why I see many technologists, people from technology background, making that mistake of really being very tech forward, which is very natural, and I wouldn't say it's completely a mistake, but at least what are some of the cons of that and what you should be watchful about. So these are probably the 2 things I'll quickly talk about. Coming to AI in healthcare, I think healthcare has immense applications in AI, right? AI has immense applications in healthcare. Healthcare overall is built on actually 3 things, right? Affordability, access, and innovation in terms of quality. So what it means is, can you make healthcare more affordable quickly? Can you make can you improve the access of healthcare, and can you really improve something that today doesn't happen? AI plays a huge role in helping that. To just give you an idea, like 20 to 25% of radiologists in the world sit out of US, and still US feels, and the radiologists in US feels burnt out. They really feel that there is a huge challenge of productivity. There are about 200 radiologists in Kenya. There are more lions in Kenya than radiologists, and they also feel extremely challenged in terms of, the world will never have enough radiologists, or the world will never have enough clinicians. Radiology is just one example. None of the specialized clinicians will be ever enough in the world. The only way to make them enough is to scale the skilled. Right? It is the ability of that same radiologist, if does 100 cases a day, can we make that 1,000 or 10,000? That's the only way to scale it, and that's where technology and AI, deep learning algorithms, anything that helps productivity is extremely useful. Anything that makes time very useful. So going to examples, for example, say Deep Tech or even few other companies, is there are 3 to 4 areas really to attack. One is productivity and scaling the skills. Second is detecting something that is not detectable in the stage currently it is? So can you detect something very early to get it cured? And can you help improve the time to market for certain kind of technology? So these are really the three big areas in which AI in healthcare is playing a role. To give you a couple of examples, one is the TB one that we talked about. Giving normal abnormal segregation quickly helps, for example, that the abnormal can get into the radiologist bucket while the normal can be seen from a junior person. So you get a productivity advantage in scanning, say, X-rays or CTs or MRs. Similarly, there are someone like Rapid AI is one of the companies you should look at. They did something amazing, is that they gave a complete point solution in stroke, for example, where you are able to detect salvable tissue. The key challenge in stroke is can I intervene? The neurologist's biggest challenge is, can I go and intervene now? Is it safe? To do that, is there something to be recovered? Rapid AI, through their clinical protocols and AI and technology, actually allowed them to give another 24-hour window to do that, which is saving a number of lives as well as is helping a lot of that. So there are many such applications. Generative AI is opening up the entire patient interaction part, which AI in healthcare had not touched yet, but generative AI is now opening up that possibility as well. So these are some of the very interesting applications in AI in healthcare, right?
That was very well said, in fact. Scaling the skilled is one of the biggest challenges that we in the healthcare industry face, and Deep Tech seems to be solving that problem very well. We have a few other companies based out of Pune, one of which is Innoplexis, and is again operating out of the life sciences space. Arpan, how do you guys help scientists and researchers?
Yeah. First of all, thank you, Chetan, for inviting me. And just to give you a big background about myself, like as Chetan mentioned, I'm kind of part of Innoplexis data science group, where we at Innoplexis use AI to reduce the time that is taken for the drug to come to the market, and we use it through multiple stages. And just to give you a taste that how innovative we are is, like, you can say that we have 190 plus patents in drug discovery field, and this is and we are kind of like one of the highest in those categories. So coming to the part of drug development, I will say that there are what we do is there are 10 plus modules through which we enhance the complete pipeline. So out of them, I will talk about the core 4 of the modules, which is kind of you can say that target identification. That is something that whenever you want to build a drug, you want to know that which target, that is a protein, gene, or it can be any biological entity that has been associated with the disease, and then you need to identify that protein, gene, or biological entities to actually know that the drug can get attached to it, and then we can moderate the effect of it. And the second is basically the lead optimization, where what we do is, now that we know about the biological entity of which we need to take care of, and the second part is about to scan through the drug databases and to know that which chemical compound is druggable. So now that you have the entity on which you need to moderate, you have what kind of drug, and the third is basically you need to identify the diseases. So this is what we call is indication prioritization. So in which we kind of identify the different diseases. It's just that many companies are very much interested in building a drug which is not just moderator for one disease, but can be used for multiple diseases, right? So we help in that area. We are able to use AI and suggest them multiple diseases or multiple indications where they can use that drug. And then the third part that comes into the picture is the clinical phase, the clinical trial phase. Now imagine that I can tell you, you design the clinical trial in such a way that you include this group of patients, you include this geographical, this is the best site, which ultimately kind of increase your probability of success. That is your probability of getting the drug to the market. It's not just that we do some changes in the parameters. I will say it's all connected from the first that I've just said. So we use the AI to kind of advise you with all those chemical compounds, biological entities or proteins on which you need to target. And with this effort, and just to highlight here, you have to go through hundreds of millions of knowledge databases to actually know about one compound, to know about its history, that what is the interaction with the other biological entities. And in our kind of, just in our human body, we have thousands of proteins in it, and if you kind of if you do a maths, it's the combinations, like thousands of proteins and then the multiple thousands of drugs, you combine them, it's kind of, if you want to test every combination, it scales exponentially, right? And it is kind of tedious if you are go through it in traditional ways. So what we do is, we use AI where we use the parameters. We have knowledge graph in our system which has entities, thousands of entities in it. It understands the interactions between each biological entities, and we use it and we combine it with large language models, which is Gen AI nowadays. And we are able to give you predictions of molecules, even in just not set of molecules, but a ranking of the molecules, that how you should proceed in clinical development. So, but everyone must be thinking like why we are doing it, right? So just to give you a stats, so the AI in drug discovery so AI in drug discovery has a market cap of, you can say, 1.9 billion USDs as of 2023, and is kind of expected to grow at a percentage of 30% in next 5 to 8 years. So you can see a very rapid development, and in this rapid development, if you can increase the throughput, if you can in the same number of time, if you can give an optimized suggestion, we can give you a better suggestion, and you can make the whole process smoother and kind of efficient, you will be able to generate more money, right? And this is just a one phase, I will say. The other phase is basically the scaling part. When I say hundreds of millions of documents, it comes around, it can be unstructured documents, it can be digital documents, it can be many more, right? Now to process it, even if you want, even in the healthcare industries, like security is one of the major things, right? If you are dealing with patient data, you have to like very secure. And in that, if you are kind of using, so what we do is like, we use in-house GPUs. We have kind of, as Dr. Ganesh was mentioning that, right? India is kind of taking like 10,000 of GPUs, and out of 10,000 of GPUs, we are having access to thousands of H100 GPUs. So with that H100 of GPUs, I will just give you a stats and then I will end. Then that the numbers that I'm going to give is in comparison of like previous version GPUs, that is V100, and then the current version, that is H100. So previously we were able to kind of, so whenever you have protein, you have sequences, you have to predict the 3D structure of it, and then you have to optimize it, then you have to predict the docking, right? Previously, in like using previous version GPUs, that is V100, for a batch of 1 lakh proteins, it took 10 hours. And now with H100, we are able to do the same processing in under an hour. So that is where we have kind of also utilized the GPUs, where we can increase the throughputs and where we are able to help them, top pharmas, companies, and CROs. So thank you.
Great. I guess what we've spoken about is a detection of TB early on, detection of cancer of different forms, data management in clinical trials, and data management also with terms to monogenic or genetic disorders. I'll probably have this last question for Ranjit and end it over here in 2 minutes. Quickly, Ranjit, if you can just highlight upon the AI models that you've used at Everstream, and if there are any flip examples that you might have come across on AI being used on the negative part or the bad boy part.
Okay. Got it. So actually, I'll talk about the negative part first, right? Bad news followed by good news, right? So what I would say is, so my background is actually, I'm a cryptographer. I'm a trained cryptographer. My background is design and analysis of security and network protocols. And I learned under Edelman, who's the A in RSA, right? So when you marry cybersecurity with artificial intelligence, you actually get a very powerful entity that can break down every sense of privacy, every sense of ownership, every sense of human identity, every sense of human agency. Okay? And that's actually extremely dangerous. So we really need guidelines there because that is actually the worst use case of artificial intelligence. AI is built on machine learning. Machine learning is a fancy term for statistics. I know I'm just simplifying it very, but imagine a global computer, like the Ethereum blockchain is actually a global virtual machine, right? So similar to that, imagine a global machine that has all your data, knows about you, knows where you go, what you want to do, where you want to be, how you're spending money, and you don't want such intelligence to be armed with cybersecurity knowledge as well. Okay, so that's the bad part, right? Okay. I never invest. I have never worked in those areas, and I refuse. I decline everything that comes my way that way. I will never fund a company in that area. Okay. I hope that answers that question. Okay. The good thing about AI, so like at Everstream, what do we do, right? Like I said, we are #1 in data science because we actually marry a disparate fields, okay? So we are in supply chain risk management, but for that supply chain risk, we have customer data, we have supplier data, we have weather data, we have shipping data, and we have advanced meteorology. And we marry all of this multidisciplinary data. And what we do is we can tell you 15 days in advance that, hey, your ship is going to come into Singapore and it's going to go to Taiwan, but there's going to be a problem in Taiwan at day 8. And you need to do something at Singapore to circumvent that, right? So, and the models we use are pretty sophisticated because of that. They're not the simple ones that you get even from Facebook. I mean, those are nice LLMs, those are very powerful, but ours are actually built in-house as well because we want to, slice and dice this data in machine learning aspects in such a way that we can take disparate, unstructured data and marry it into structured data and still come out with a pertinent analysis that impacts your business, right? So that's what we do at Everstream.
That is a very good example of actual applications of real artificial intelligence, data from multiple sources married into generating an output. With this, I close this panel, but I have a very good example of what Ranjit mentioned on the negative aspects of AI. Since we're not going to have classes today, I'm going to give you a small homework. You can go and watch a small a movie called Control. It is one of the very good, few good movies of Ananya Pandey on the negative aspects of artificial intelligence on Netflix. Thank you so much, everybody.